Hello everyone, my name is Young Falcon and welcome to my final video on Guilty Gear Strive's beta. It was a okay time with some great things that I really enjoyed about the game and some things that I'm not a huge fan of, which we're all going to discuss in this video. Firstly, I want to talk about some of the pros. I feel like the overall presentation of the game is actually heading in a pretty nice direction. I think the character shading and art style is an absolute step above Dragon Ball FighterZ and Guilty Gear Xrd, and I love the way each stage backdrop looks. It is very fun to fight on them without them ever coming off as too distracting. My personal favorite stages are Giovanna stages with the bustling New York kind of city that looks absolutely impeccable, and of course my second favorite has to be the Faust stage. I think that looks really great. Axel's was another contender for one of my faves with the moving boat in the background, but it gets a little distracting with it scrolling and all the parallax stuff. I don't know, just a lot going on for me, but overall it's just excellent. I really love how everything looks when it comes to characters and stages, and I can't get enough of it. Next comes the UI, and honestly it's pretty fine in my opinion. There's not too much about it that is jarring to me. I think for the majority of it, it looks fine. I like the tension bar where it's positioned, along with the way your health bar moves across the screen and your burst being right underneath it. Again, everything is just extremely easy to read. It does have a bit of a early access feel, and it's definitely not nearly as stylized as some of the previous Guilty Gears, but for the most part it works, and that's really what matters in the end of the day, and I think it does look pretty fine. Furthermore, we have gameplay. I already touched on gameplay a tad bit in my previous video, which we are going to further touch on and kind of re-explain some of my points in a, I guess, more focused manner. So yeah, let's talk about the two new characters. Firstly, we have Anji Mito, and he was a pretty fun character to play as, not that much fun to play against to be honest, but for the most part I had a blast playing as him. His setups and combos are very unique and very fun compared to the rest of the cast, and his Oki setups are just absolutely insane. Being able to charge up a special powerful attack and phase through different attacks that other people are throwing out at you is pretty funny, and it gets set up for some interesting scenarios where you can jump and fake people out and grab them, or throw down a little fan to blow up on people. There's all sorts of creative tactics you can use to keep everyone at bay and keep those block string pressures going strong and long. It is really fun. Now, that being said, he is a little bit of a gorilla archetype. I know he's not supposed to be a rushdown because his speed is definitely not there for it, and maybe it's just because it was beta and everyone was learning the character, but I definitely felt a lot of just mashing moments. I even have a couple clips of me literally slamming my controller, just smashing every button on there while fighting people, because it's too much fun to watch the results. It's great stuff, man. So overall, Anji Mito was really fun. Fighting against him was a bit frustrating because he seemed a little ambiguous of what you have to figure out and stuff, but it's all because it's a beta and it's the first time learning the character, and I'm really excited to finally like call him out on his dumb stuff, like when I see a counter super and I just grab him out of it and stuff like that. That's gonna be incredible. I'm really looking forward to that when it eventually comes there. And then moving on, we have Ino, who's a character I'm very split on. I really like playing as Ino in training mode, but I despised playing her online against like real people. Main reason why I was on training mode, I can hit combos, and offline I can't. It's just that simple. Ino is very fun though. She has a lot of interesting Oki setups, kind of similar to Anji Mito, with her little musical note thing that does a lot of damage, like 5 or 6 hits or whatever, depending on how far away it is. That stuff is great, and you can set up for a lot of Oki, whether you keep getting hard knockdowns and going back for it, or you go for a full damaging combo that can lead to a wall splat and or wall carry. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with her playstyle, and I really enjoy the amount of loops and things you have to get towards the objective, which is inevitably break someone through that wall, gain tension, RC, and go hog wild. But with that being said, I felt like she definitely is lacking in a lot of mobility options. Her dash does seem a bit slow, and when it comes to calling her out on her mess, if you have a good 6P, which Giovanna and characters like Kai and pretty much the whole cast does, she gets shut down very easily, as I learned towards the end of the beta. I did struggle with her quite a bit when it came to fighting her, and definitely when I came to playing as her, it was a frustrating learning experience, and I overall did have a good time though. Like, she is very fun, and I can't wait to further flesh out my gameplay and figure out how she works and do combos and extend and all that great stuff. But as of now, it's only a beta, so I didn't have enough time to really like sink my teeth in with her, but it definitely is a character I'm looking forward to further expanding when the game comes out, so that's always good to know. Here's hoping they do some changes and things like that to make her just a tad more less floaty and a little more fluid and whatnot, because I know she changes from game to game and everything, but it would just be nice to be a little bit more fast pace with her when it comes to rushing down, as that is her archetype. Overall, pretty fun character, and I don't have many complaints. We gotta talk about Soul Bad Guy. I think it's pretty unanimous that this character is the best in Strive, and it's quite simply because he's the only character that still feels like he has a little bit of a original Guilty Gear left in him, if that makes sense. This man can combo off of his standing kick, go into crazy anti-air strings, body you and beta burst and go for something absolutely insane in a corner that can blow you through a wall, giving him free tension. He has basically everything to make himself be the strongest character in Strive, especially with the changes they made to air dashing and things of that nature. He could throw Gunflame out for Oki and things and cover it with RC, and the stuff he could do is just a little on the insane side, and I really like that about the character actually. Playing as Soul is so much fun. He is just great. He's not even a gorilla archetype. Like, you really have to think and find all of these unique combo routes for corners, mid-screen, far screen. There's so many crazy things you can do with Soul in this game compared to the rest of the cast that I can't even comprehend it at times. Another character I feel like this definitely is Ram Lethal. There is a ton of stuff, not quite as strong as Soul because of the limited options she has, but I do definitely feel like some of the stuff she can do is absolutely insane, and her block pressure is beyond busted. Like, if she has 2 bars of meter, it's basically GG. She can shoot this giant laser beam, run up on you, tick throw, go for some crazy jab normal setups or whatever it may be. Like, she just has so many things that she could pull off that makes fighting her a absolute pain, and a lot of her moves are pretty safe as well, so yeah, have fun with that. But overall, still a really fun character to take on as well, and I never got too frustrated fighting her, despite being a zoner and me being the kind of brawler archetype. I usually get really tilted fighting those because it's like, how do I get in? But in Guilty Gear Strive, I'm like, oh, this is how I get in. Cool, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world. It's pretty fine. But overall, yeah, I thought Ram Lethal was pretty fun to both play as and fight against, which is always a good sign. It's just shaping up to be a fun character. I don't know what else to tell you. And then you had Kai Kisuke. To me, kind of in the same boat with Soul, at least fighting that matchup. He does have a lot of just awesome tools, really great pressure, etc, etc. He can definitely see himself moving up a couple spots on the theoretical tier list, but again, anything can change. It's a beta, don't quote me on any of this stuff, but he did seem a fun character to play, not that much fun to fight if you're playing Giovanna and or Eno. Really hard to get in against that man. He got basically everything in the cookbook thrown at you, but hey, what can you do but try your best? And once I got the matchup down, for the most part, it was a very satisfying journey to kind of keep playing the game and grind that MU out, again, for the beta. So yeah, overall, I'm chilling. Pretty fun stuff. So what can I say about Guilty Gear Strive that hasn't already been said before in terms of the pros? I think for the most part, characters are just fine, right? They are missing some things. They could have a couple of changes, you know, made to their core original systems in the original Guilty Gears, but I respect that this is a new game and a new direction, and I'm not going to harp on them too much for changing things, except for when it makes the game a tad unfun, which again, we'll talk to in the cons section. For me, I mainly played Giovanna. I don't know what to tell you. The character was still a ton of fun to play. Has pretty much all of her combos, although I definitely found myself dropping them a bunch more online than usual, and I chalked that up to rust. But overall, really great character. Had a ton of fun doing the usual Giovanna pressure things, and it just feels so great whittling down people's defense, going for a tick throw, grab to reset, or who knows what, and doing a huge combo off of it. Never gets old to me. I adore stuff like that. It's 10 out of 10 stuff, truly. Well, enough of the pros. It's time to head to the cons, and there's some things that I am definitely not the biggest fan of in Guilty Gear Strive. But instead of me just saying I'm not a fan of this, I'm actually just gonna explain what I want changed and keep it pushing. Number one is the air dashing. I know people are tired of hearing about it, but it's gotta be said. Yes, we said the air dashing was a little jank in the previous beta, but it's a lot better than whatever they put out in this one. So I propose a change that should make pretty much everyone happy that is a fan of Strive or whatnot. Let's just bring back the old Guilty Gear systems when it comes to aerial combat. Have two, one with the sigil that can set up for mix-ups on opponents, and the other one that can dash straight in, which is something a commenter actually recommended, and I definitely agree with. These would go a long way in making the game's combat and overall game feel flow a lot more effortlessly, and on top of that, it would make the neutral game a ton more fun to play, as people would never know what type of mix-up they're going to be getting hit with. Oh, and as a side note, while we're here, take out normal blocking in mid-air. That is so not Guilty Gear. all they have to do to fix a lot of these issues with people just running away constantly and not being able to do anything but really tick throw them in midair, which I believe people could still even throw tech, so that's an issue as well, is bring back the traditional Guilty Gear system, which is you have to have tension in order to block. You have to use your faultless defense to block in midair. I am 100% down with this, and it would make combat overall a, again, much more welcoming change, as a lot of people that are just running away and throwing projectiles and whatnot can easily get blown up and punished compared to other Guilty Gear titles. This makes the neutral game a tad bit more engaging, and overall the game make you feel like you're definitely both more in control of your actions, rather than one playing a keep away game and the other trying to play the cat and mouse like let me get on you. It's a little bit on the frustrating side and definitely doesn't feel like Guilty Gear in my opinion. The final one is, honestly, at first I didn't really agree, but as I've read more comments and played some more Exart, and we'll have some stuff about that soon, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Just bring back the normal Gatling system. Some people are gonna say, well, hey, punches shouldn't be able to lead into full combos, that's not how it works. And to that I say, clearly you must be new around here. Anime fighters have been doing Gatling systems for years. If you play BlazBlue, Central Fiction, or games like that, and you do your ABC or whatever it may be, you're gonna get a Gatling out of it. Even down to games like BB Tag working like that. This is kind of a traditional thing in anime fighters in general. You have your ABC, sometimes you have an ABCD depending on what the game is, sometimes you have a punch, kick, slash, heavy slash. You guys get the gist. So it would be nice to see them just kind of return to that. In all honesty, it feels a bit strange that most of the characters only have slash, heavy slash, and comboing off of that. The reason why characters like Soul Bad Guy feels so good to play is because you don't just have to do slash, heavy slash, and go in for a big RC mix combo. You have 5k into heavy slash, you have his command normals that you can combo into. There's all sorts of crazy stuff that make this character so much fun to play. Whereas, say, a Giovanna, you have a couple of command normals you can do, but the bulk of it is kind of, you know, slash, heavy slash, you get the gist. And it would be nice to have that punch, kick, slash, heavy slash chain that would make combos just a tad more satisfying to pull off, in my personal opinion. Now, this is again subjective, you don't have to agree with this, and I completely understand if you don't, but this is where I'm coming from as I've further talked with more commenters and people that are in the community, and again played a bit more Guilty Gear myself, to really appreciate how awesome the Gatlings are in games like Accent Core Plus R and also the Exart series. Now, with these proposed changes, obviously we're going to need to rework some other gameplay systems, and in my opinion, it all boils down to the tension meter. Since you're not going to be able to sit up in the air and hold back all day, I feel like we should have at least 4 bars of tension to play around with to start. I know the usual is 8 in previous games, but here 4 should be perfectly fine to segment the bars, and it would set up for some really great things. 1, we could have full tension blocking when it comes to being in midair and doing combat and stuff of that nature. 2, we could finally use RC for other things that aren't just extending our combos. It could also be used for more Oki scenarios and things like that, and really make us want to manage our meter better, as it's going to further incentivize players to use that faultless defense in situations that aren't just you getting hit in inescapable block screens on the floor, you know what I mean, or hard block screens I should say on the floor. There is a ton of setups and potential we could have with the 4-bar meter I'm proposing, and that way we could also see more RC usage throughout matches, which in turn would make matches a ton more fun, as long as they do my final point, tone down the damage just a tad bit more. I know people are upset and saying the developers don't want to change that, and I understand where those comments are coming from, but the only way to get developers to listen to us is keep voicing these complaints, and this is a universal complaint across the board. They could be as stubborn as they like, and that's completely fine, but if people aren't playing, well, that's going to be an issue. I really just want the damage to be toned down just a tad bit more by launch. I don't know how much more of the values behind it, but just a little bit to make matches feel, I don't know, a little more lengthy, and not like I get one counter hit and they explode off screen and die, especially when you're playing characters like Giovanna or Milia, or not really Milia, but Giovanna, Kai, Soul, etc. These characters can explode people off of one counter hit, and their health bar is just gone, and it's really sad to see, and I understand that that's just kind of a fighting game thing in general, but it's doubly oppressive in a game like Guilty Gear Strive so far, in my opinion. So yeah, those are the changes I would like to see done to Guilty Gear Strive sometime in the near future. I'm not saying I need all this stuff to be done by launch, as that's not realistically possible, but I would love to see them at least listen to some of these complaints and hopefully take them to heart throughout the lifespan of the game as we further approach not only the launch day, but also subsequent, you know, updates and things of that nature, adding new characters, modes hopefully, and all sorts of other stuff. But hey, that's gonna do it for Guilty Gear Strive's final beta's final look. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If there's anything you want to see changed and etc., please comment down below, as it really would mean a lot to see what your guys' thoughts are with the beta. If there's anything that you guys, like about the game too, let's all share it. Oh, and also, if you're sticking around, I would genuinely enjoy if you could leave a subscription on my channel. I do video game reviews and things of that nature, and it would mean a lot if you could follow me over on Twitter and Twitch to keep up with my shenanigans and live streams and kind of see me play these things in real time, and of course interact with a pretty dope community. Thank you all again so much for watching the video. It really does mean a lot. The support from the last video was absolutely insane, and I really wish you all the best day possible. Hope you guys all have a good one. I'll see you next time. Peace.